How's it going, guys? It's Will here from Shadow Ascent, signing back in once again, coming at you with another video today. And I want to talk about the past, which is kind of a double-edged sword. There's components to the past that we need to remember. Memories are one of the most essential aspects of life. You have to have core memories of times where you went to a cool place with your friends or family, specific time in your life that you remember and reminisce upon. Wherever you were, whatever you did, it's good to have those memories. But there are multiple ways that you can look at it, and sometimes naturally there's a sense of nostalgia that can either be looked at as, oh, those were fun times, but I'm happy I'm here today, or oh, those were fun times, I want them back. I long for those experiences and everything to return. We tend to glorify the past more than we probably should. Thinking back on a certain time in our life and knowing now what we know, it seems like, oh, that's easy, right? Oh, that's a time that I knew everything that happened. I know that everything that's happened from 3 years ago until now. But 3 years ago, I didn't know what was going to happen in that span. So at the time, there's a lot of issues that I was going through 3 years ago that maybe I think about now and I'm like, oh man, like that's fun. I enjoyed those moments. But at the time, there was a lot of chaos and challenges that I was dealing with. And the same could be said now. I like to look at life as if we are always in the good old days, because there will be a point in time where I'm reflecting on where I am today. I just moved. There's going to be a time where I'm thinking about, oh, I remember when we just moved and, I was seeing my friends for the first time again, trying to hunt for a job, like, oh, I was 25. Man, those were the good old days. But here I am today, and there's times where I'm thinking like, oh, I need to figure this out. I need to get a job. Money's getting thin. I need to hit the gym. I need to do this. I need to do that, right? And so there's always things that we overlook when we think back on the past. And it's hard to move on from a certain time period. The last year and a half has been the beginning of a new chapter in my life, where I've fallen in love, gotten a new car, moved out, all for the first time in my life, and really leveled up. So to an extent, I remember the times where I lived with my parents and everything was comfortable and I didn't have to worry about paying the bills. I had my routines every single day, everything was down. At times, I can look back on that and just think about, man, it was so much easier. I often actually catch myself thinking what it would be like to revisit a single day of my life when I was 18, 19, 20, just to feel something again, just to go back. And it is intriguing to do that. If I had the opportunity, sure, I would, but that's never going to happen. And, even if it could, I think being here is the most important thing, because this is all that exists. This is the moments. This is what is happening right here and right now. And that's always going to be the case. It's always the moments. And yet we find unique manners to stray as far away from that as possible into false realities and story arcs about what could happen in the future, into the nostalgia about the past, and we have a very hard time centering ourselves on the here and on the now. And this can be seen in people who especially are older. If you notice how many people when they get older are very out of touch, right? And I'm not talking about, your parents who are awful when they're on the phone, like they don't know how to turn their own flashlight on, but I'm more so just referring to like the whole back in my day, this and that, right? And it's cool, I get it. It's fun to think about what life would have been like in the 80s and the 70s, but it is a new time and we can't grow. We're only gonna stunt our growth if we are just obsessed with what once was. It's hard to move on, but we have to. We have to find a way to embrace where our life is. Otherwise, we're going to get caught up. Otherwise, we're going to grow up and be those people who were like back in my day. And, oh, the music was so great in the 2010s and the 2000s. It sucks today. The past is also good to reference certain things. That's how, wisdom is attained. When you recall the steps you took that led to an error of some kind and you kind of realize that maybe perhaps taking a different route would be more ideal for you. And that's where I'd say the past is where we learn from. It's the same thing as history. Those who are not in tune with history are bound to repeat the same mistakes again. So it is good to keep that in reference, keep that in mind. I've learned so much in the last few years. I learn a lot every day, as do you, right? All of us are continuously learning, and I think that's what the past is useful for. But when we're sitting here and longing for it, like I said in the beginning of the video, that's when we escape. That's when we use methods like alcohol, like porn, like junk food, like any type of substance to escape the current reality. That's why people do that when they break up in a relationship. When we get hooked up on something, we want to escape, to recreate that feeling or go above and beyond that sensation. I heard a YouTuber, Cole Hastings, say this recently, that a sober mind is actually the most psychedelic mind. I feel like I'm far and away my most productive and functioning at my best mental state when I'm in a position of sobriety. Whenever I'm drinking or smoking or doing any of that, I am not thinking in as clear of a mind. The next day is obviously affected with whether it's a hangover or some kind, just mental fog. And I think that when I'm sober, I'm at a hyper level of focus, especially when I'm sober for a longer period of time. Now, yeah, I still want to go out and have a drink and, smoke a little bit sometimes with some friends, but it's not something that I want to intervene with what it is that I'm doing on a daily basis. Focusing on embracing and taking on the challenge of the present should be all of our goals. The past is what we learn to practice in the present to build for the future. And when we don't see that sort of vision, we're gonna get complacent. We're gonna get caught up in no man's land and remain stagnant. And that's not something that anybody should want. I do believe that it's important to always want to search for something more, to strive, to continue forth. And with a sense of gratitude and humility, those are two traits in life that I personally value heavily, are gratitude and humility. I think discipline and love as well. Those four traits are so important to practice and maintain. And if you can do that, you're gonna have a good head on your shoulders. You're gonna go far, I think, in life. Life is good. These are the good old days. I strongly advise anyone to have that sort of mindset. These are the good old days. In order to create nostalgia, you have to find a way to make something new. You have all those memories from before, but at the time you were just first experiencing it. And that's how you build it. So embrace today, embrace the now, and make something of it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you as always for tuning in. Will from Shadow Ascent, signing out.
How can I escape this enigmatic place where I've been feeling evasive? Cannot seem to embrace it. My own home is abrasive, anxiety tenacious. Yet my lust, it was laced in something I couldn't chase.